Hello, and welcome to another episode of Jaxon Talks. Everybody, with me, your host, Jaxon Stone, and I thank you for joining me again on another episode. If you're a regular listener, I appreciate you very much. If you're a new listener, hopefully you enjoy this episode enough where you want to check out other episodes with guests, or more of the Hotline episodes, or you want to share this with a friend because you found it insightful. So hopefully you stick through. This episode could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour, depending on what kind of calls we get in, because this is officially the 8th edition of Everybody's Hotline. If you're unfamiliar with that, it is where I have a number open that I've posted on social media for people to call in. It's open for 1 hour for people to call in and have conversation, to get something off their chest, to vent. It can be anonymous. You don't have to say who you are, or you can say who you are. It doesn't have to be a serious conversation. It definitely can be. You can ask for questions. You can ask advice. You can ask me anything about myself. It's really just an open forum for discussion, for connection, because I feel like my purpose in life is to create connection. First, connection within ourselves, because that is the most important. And then with that connection to who we are, our body, our mind, our soul, we can then easily connect with different and diverse communities throughout our lifetime in those experiences that we have. This is the Hotline. In the previous 7 editions, we've generally, I say we, but me, I've generally only gotten 1, maybe 2 callers, sometimes 0. And so I know that good things take time, so there needs to be patience on my part. These are kind of becoming my favorite episodes, because I really don't know who might call in, what kind of conversations I might have, and that's really exciting for me. And so who knows? If no one calls in, I have about 30 minutes of content that I want to get through. If people do call in, it could go an hour, it could go 45, it could go longer. If I'm having a really amazing conversation, I'm never going to cut someone off. I want to create those deep relationships with people that call in, and people that care about this show, or just kind of our first time listeners, or whatever the case may be. And so I record it now. It's March 10th. And it's posted about 3 to 4 weeks from now, depending on other episodes that I have and guests that I have on. But I like to post 3 to 4 weeks out. And that's kind of my schedule for posting an episode every single Tuesday. So welcome. So the way we start this podcast, when I have a guest, I ask them this question. When I don't have a guest, or when I'm by myself doing a hotline or a solo episode, I generally ask it to the people that are listening right now, and I tend to answer it myself. And so the question is important. The question is one that we answer with fine very often. But I think if we encourage more of that open and honest conversation, then we encourage deeper connection. When we encourage deeper connection, we have stronger relationships and stronger bonds. And those stronger bonds create more perseverance and resilience in our life, because we can lean on someone when need to, or they can lean on us when they need to. And we can kind of pull each other up from dark spots and dark moments, and kind of share an amazing experience together, because no one really does anything great alone. We need people. We need a support system. But all of that work, starts within. So how am I doing? For the most part, I'm doing very good. There was a few conversations and moments that I had in the last couple weeks that were difficult. But I'm trying to navigate, trying to put out the stuff that I believe in and find value in and purpose in, and knowing that it's not going to please everyone. Not everyone's going to like it or agree with it, and that's okay. They can have whatever opinion they want on the stuff that I put out. They can have whatever opinion they want on what they think my motives are behind posting. But I know that I have to be true to what I want to say and how I want to say it, and that was an important kind of step for me to take, because you hear all the time, if you don't have haters, you're not doing it right. And so I don't know if that's completely true. I don't know, whatever the case may be about it, but I know that there's literally no possible way to please everyone and to make everyone happy, no matter what kind of content you put out, or no matter what kind of things that you care about or have dedicated your life to. For anyone out there who's kind of trying to reach a goal or put out a message or do anything of that sort. So had a few conversations with some folks, last week about navigating that and trying to just not be weighed down by opinions of others, because everyone's really just trying to figure it out. We're all just trying to figure it out. We're all just winging it. We don't have anything figured out. I don't have anything figured out. We're all just, I'm definitely flying by the seat of my pants. I'm following my heart. I'm following my passion. And so far it's led me to some really amazing things in my life. But, at the core of it, I'm not a professional. When it comes to the kind of the stuff that I talk about, I just feel like it has resonated with me and it's helped me in my journey. And so, as I like to say, I don't know shit about fuck. Famous words spoken by the Timothy Thatcher. But I feel like, if you care about something, then that whole having the beginner's mind about it, and starting from the ground and just kind of building your way up step by step by step, trying to get 1% better at everything every day, at one thing every day, not everything, 1% better at one thing every day. Those little steps add up. And so, so everyone's just trying to figure it out. No one's got it handled. We've all got issues and problems and insecurities and deep secrets and traumas, and it all kind of, it sometimes unfolds in our life. That's why we have to do this kind of work to be able to present our best selves in like hard situations, and that's what this really is all about. And so how am I doing? For the most part, very good. I've really gotten into bike riding outside to start my morning. If you follow me on Instagram, which you can at Jaxon Stone, I've posted some of the scenic views here where I ride my bike. There's a nice trail here in Plano, Texas, where I ride, and it's become one of my most favorite parts of my day. I don't know why. I think it's because my roommate was riding his bike a lot, and he has a cool bike. And then my bike was just kind of been sitting at my house since I moved here. And so I decided to just start riding. And it's been really cool. Because sometimes I get bored. I'm a super big into fitness. Like, it's one of the main reasons that my life is where it is. One of the reasons I played baseball at such a high level. It's one of the reasons why I've done so well in professional wrestling, is because I've been in the weight room since, on a consistent manner. Since my sophomore year of high school, and it's completely transformed my body and my confidence. And sometimes I'm doing 2 a days, working out 7 times a week. And I love the weight room. And so at the start of the year, I added yoga to that. I was always super into like mobility stuff, like the Ready State and Mobility WOD. Like, those are two really good spots you can check out if you're looking for like specific athletic mobility, just trying to get more mobile and recover faster. Because recovery is just as important as hard work, right? If you're not recovering, if you're not eating right, sleeping right, thinking well, moving well, then you're not going to be able to perform your best at whatever areas of your life that you're trying to, go after. And so I added yoga, and then once I kind of got consistent with yoga, I'm at yoga like maybe 4 to 6 days a week. I'm very good at doing that. I like it. It feels good. Then I decided to add some cycling in there. That's been amazing. So those are kind of my 3 modalities for getting my exercise and getting my fitness in. Definitely a weight room guy. I love it. I'm kind of a meathead in terms of that, and kind of lifting weights and really enjoying that pump and the adrenaline rush and the endorphins. Cycling is amazing because I'm outside in nature, kind of breathing fresh air. Being able to listen to some Post Malone while I ride is awesome. And then adding that yoga part, right, where it incorporates a lot of that meditation, that gratitude, enjoying your body, reveling in how amazing our bodies really are and how they're able to do the things they can do on a regular basis is like pretty fucking incredible. And so learning all that and just being a beginner at it, right? I'm at first when I started cycling, I'm in pretty good shape, right? I'm pro athlete and a wrestler and all these things, and I've been working out for a long time. And when I got on my bike for the first time in a while, like 20 minutes was just, and I can do the elliptical at the gym for however long, or the Stairmaster, and just getting on the bike outside for 20 minutes was just made me beat. And so now I'm like, a 35, 40 minute ride. Soon I'll get up to higher than that and do an hour and 10 rides, see if I can get more mileage, more speed per hour. So it's been a cool, learning journey. I was even looking at, some cycling gear, maybe getting a new bike. And so that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. So that's been cool for me and my health and my mental health and my physical health, because our bodies and our minds are connected. They're always connected. They've always been connected. Sometimes we like to think of them as two separate parts, but really they're all one and the same. And so, especially if you're dealing with some kind of anxiety or you're worrying about something or something with your mental health, usually it kind of starts somewhere in your body, and it's sending you some signals, whether it's thoughts, whether it's your back is hurting, whether you're starting to break out on your face. These are just indications of something that needs to be looked further into, whether on our body or in our mind, because they're all interconnected and everything's always telling us something. So that's why the first step in kind of fixing anything is awareness. Awareness is always that first step. And still on the tea grind. As for you, Ryan Remington? Still love my coffee. Speaking of coffee, I just became aware of this coffee company called Zeus Coffee Company. And recently had a conversation with a couple of their owners. And they are a coffee company, online business, Zeus Coffee. But they make their stuff in Dallas. And a portion of their proceeds get donated directly to mental health services, charities, organizations, and stuff like that. And so hopefully in the coming weeks or months, we can kind of create a partnership between You Are Loved and Zeus, and, kind of my two favorite things, coffee and mental health, kind of all joined in one. So I'm really excited about that. It's just things continue to kind of fall into place, I guess, when you're kind of putting out the right energy and the right frequency. So I recommend that for anyone who's kind of feel like they're maybe in limbo, or they're working without any recognition right now. It's coming, right? It's coming. You just got to keep putting out that vibe, that energy, keep putting the work in, keep doing what you feel like is best for you. But also take an honest look at that work and see maybe where you can tweak some things and work smarter and work a little bit differently to kind of give yourself a better chance to succeed or be in the right eye, or get that luck, or get that opportunity, or get that break. But it's coming. I believe that, and especially believe that for a lot of the guys that are in the Texas independent professional wrestling scene. If you listen to my one of my previous episodes with Dylan Dunbar and Kiefer Bartek, two guys who are running two amazing shows here in Texas, and we had a whole podcast episode about specifically Texas independent professional wrestling and how amazing it is, how many guys and gals and just wrestlers in general who are just out here crushing it. And so just keep going, keep grinding. It takes 10 years to become an overnight success. That's kind of how I'm doing. A little update. My 13-year-old team for the Dallas Tigers that I coach with David Bodson, who was on an episode here of Jaxon Talks Everybody a little while ago. We're coaching a team together, and that's been pretty incredible. It's been a learning experience for sure, on how to say the right words and find the right tone and the right language to be able to speak to a 13-year-old boy and get that thing to resonate, and for him to feel it and believe it in himself. You have to earn that attention from those kids. You have to earn that respect from those kids. So that's been a pretty cool learning experience. So I'm kind of workshopping that. It's a lot different speaking to a 25-year-old about mental health than it is a 13-year-old kid about how to enhance their mental skills so they can perform better as a baseball player, but really teaching them stuff in terms of baseball, but hopefully it resonates with them in a long-term sense, and they'll apply it to the rest of their life. So I'm kind of workshopping that. So it's been awesome to be involved in baseball again, Yeah, because I've said this before, I think, but, I fell out of love with it, after I stopped playing in 2014 and just kind of randomly hopped back into it. It's been quite amazing. Baseball is a very beautiful, romantic sport, and it shows you a lot about life and shows you a lot about who you are as a person. And I'm proud to be coaching these kids and mentoring them in that way. And so hopefully it leads to some great success for them. And, we're kind of working on trying to get them to a varsity level as high schoolers. So that's the goal in mind for me and Coach Bodson at this point. But it's more about, shaping them as young men and, how to handle what's coming in high school and how to handle the differences of their body, or how to handle attraction to man or female whenever they get to that point, or whenever they feel like they want to get to that point. So there's a lot going on in a young person's mind and body, and so it's cool to be able to mentor and coach that and see that growth and see how excited they get about things and how much they live and enjoy. It's cool. So I'm happy to be back in baseball and doing that. We'll see how it goes. Woo. And if any of my boys right now are listening to this episode, cheers. See you at practice. Yeah, so that's how I'm doing. Doing good. So just like every other hotline that I have, I encourage you right now to pause this episode, to if it's safe to do so, if you're driving or whatever, make sure it's safe to do so, to ask a friend how they're doing. Text, phone call, Facebook message, Instagram DM. Just kind of check in on someone, see how they're doing. Catch up with them, tell them you love them, you miss them, you're proud of them, whatever the case may be, whatever the dialogue you have with said person is. Make sure it's safe to do so. You're in a safe environment to do so. Or you're not driving, or you're not bike riding, but do that. And then once you do that, ask yourself the same question. Ask yourself for real, honestly, how am I doing? And then figure out what you need to do for yourself to get yourself to, if you're on a scale of 1 to 10 and say you're a 4 at this moment, how do you get yourself to a 5? How do you get yourself to a 6? If you're feeling like a 10, great, keep doing what you're doing. That's awesome. Share that vibe, share that energy with others, so we can all be at a 10. So do that right now, and then press play when you're back, and we'll keep this episode rolling. Okay, that's all I really had to touch on. But another reoccurring theme in these episodes is I'm just looking through some articles that I found recently that are really good, that I want to that kind of echo what I talk about, but they're coming from like doctors and journalists and like real professionals. And so this is stuff that I read, and I'm going to kind of go through these articles with you and talk to you as I go through them. And then it's kind of the same stuff that I talk about in my newsletter. If you subscribe to jacksonstone.net, you get a newsletter every Friday. It's called Random Stuff Friday from Jaxon Stone. And it's just like thoughts that I'm pondering. Usually there's a couple questions in there. There's a quote or two. There's a brief little thing about like the big thought of the week for me. And there's a video that I watched that really resonated. And then just a few things like that. So if you go to jacksonstone.net, you subscribe. Also, when you subscribe, you get a one-time 25% discount off my store. Jacksonstone.net kind of just launched a few months ago, and it's a really quite beautiful website. And so, yeah, go check that out if you want to receive that newsletter. And also, you get an email every Tuesday when a new episode drops. So those are the emails you get. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you get an email Tuesday and Friday. And, you'll get alerts if new merch drops. But I haven't really focused on Jaxon Stone merch in a bit because I have dropped a lot of You Are Love stuff. I've dropped a lot of For Everybody stuff. So there'll be some new Jaxon Stone merch in April. And so if you want to be the first to be aware of that, do that. And then if you're looking for even deeper connection with me, you can text me on my number, which is available on Instagram or Twitter if you want to look that number up. Or if you want even more than that, you can sign up for my Patreon, which is extensive, right? There's merch, there's personalized videos, there's live streams, there's Zoom Hangouts. And speaking of that, if you are a Patreon member, you get shouted out on everybody's hotline. So shout out to Michelle, Brian, and Tommy for being part of my Patreon, you know. And my mom, she signed up, and Solo has signed up. So so far I have five patrons, which is pretty cool. You know, it's better than 0, better than 4. So I'm excited about all those people who've signed up. And of course, a portion of all your proceeds or all your money that you use to pay for the Patreon goes to some You Are Loved initiatives, which at this moment is specifically going to paying the therapists that run my support groups. Some are for wrestlers, some are not for wrestlers, so we have that. And then the other goes directly to people who can't afford their therapy, their medication, their treatment, their counseling. So that's where your donations go to. So you get kind of all that when you sign up for Patreon. And if you're just looking to donate to You Are Loved, you go to youarelovelife.com and there's a donation button. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of ways to connect with me. There's a lot of ways to conversate with me. Obviously, a hotline happens every month, so that's another way to have communication with me. I now have a texting number with direct communication to me, and also you get like positive vibes and mental health tips almost daily. You know, there's the Patreon, there's a newsletter, of course there's Twitter and Instagram DMs, and so there's just a lot of ways to connect with me. That's really the most important thing that I'm after. I want to know each and every one of you that watches, that follows, that subscribes, that views, and I want you to get to know me better. That's really important to me. So there's that. So now we'll go into the few articles that I found were very interesting this week. So this one's from the New York Times. It's called "What to Do If Your Child Expresses Dark Thoughts." I think a lot of times we tend to forget how much our children kind of can struggle still with mental health, right? Especially over this last year with the pandemic and their schools getting shut down and not being able to hang out with their friends and being stuck at home and not being able to play their sports or go do any of these or see their friends. Like, for a young kid, that's very, 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 very hard. And I think we tend to forget that a young child can definitely have, you know, suicidal ideations or dark thoughts. They can resort to self-harm. All these things are possible for young children. And we kind of tend to forget about that. And it can be a very scary moment for a parent. And, you know, but there's ways to, you know, see it early. There's ways to have conversations with your child. There's ways to help them heal and be on a path and a journey to healing and a fulfilled life still, right? And so, but we have to take these things, these thoughts that our children might be expressing, or we might see something different or something off from them. We have to be aware of that. And we have to take those things seriously. And there's just a few nuggets in here that I just kind of want to say about it. So let me just find it quick. So it says in here that people tend to have 2 extreme reactions when children talk of self-harm. They either dismiss the threat, assuming the child doesn't know what they're saying, or they freak out. Experts say a better response lies somewhere in between, right? So it's important to assume, so you have to take what they say for real, right? You know, and that's important. So yes, so that's it, right? So what the parents and the caregivers need to do is they need to be willing to learn alongside the child. They need to be the modeling behavior they like their children to exhibit, right? So that's important. Yeah. And so parents need to accept their child's reality and seek help, right? And they can steer them toward a healthier place, right? So it's like, being there for your child, right? Kind of noticing the signs, taking what they say seriously, right? Accepting that child's reality, and then going to seek help for them, and then finding healthy coping strategies along the way, right? And so that's important. It says here, young children's brains are much more influenceable. Issues are easier to treat when we address them younger. Even when the children talk of suicide, isn't true their intent. It's something to take seriously. Even when children's talk of suicide isn't their true intent, it is something to take seriously. Okay? That goes with anyone's suicidal ideation, right? Just because they have suicidal thoughts or they're thinking that they don't want to live anymore, it doesn't mean that's their true intent. Okay? But it does need to be taken seriously, right? It still deserves compassion, love, care, kindness, right? It's not attention seeking, it is something that they're truly feeling and needs to be taken and addressed seriously, right? And there's healthier ways to combat those things as a parent or as a friend, as a caregiver, as anyone. And so, there's still a lot of work to be done in the mental health field, but I think it's becoming more widespread, more talked about, and so it's easier to go and seek help. There's no shame in that. It's actually very courageous to go and seek help. And when you're a young child, that's kind of the parent's job to figure that out and be there for them and model that behavior of being open and honest and resilient, and handling things as they come, and knowing that we can adapt and overcome and survive basically anything. And so, I don't have a child, so I don't know, but I am working with young kids now. And so that's an important thing for me to hear, learn, listen, understand, is that, mental health issues can really, there's no discrimination there, right? They can affect anyone at any moment, at any time. Doesn't matter how much money you have, doesn't matter how young you are, doesn't matter where you are in life. It can affect you. And no matter where you are or who you are, you deserve that love and attention, respect, help, support, and care for those mental health conditions. And so that's what I have to say about that. So that's article number 1. And then article number 2 is kind of in the same vein, but on March 11th, right, 2020, the world watched with great sadness as the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 crisis a global pandemic. So today is March 10th, 2021, so it's been a year. And anniversaries are hard, no matter what they are. Like the anniversary of my sister's death is always very hard. It's always the anniversary of a traumatic event is very hard. And the anniversary of COVID is a traumatic event, and it's very hard. And so this is just going to give you like a few tips to help you deal with anniversaries of traumatic events, basically. So let's kind of go through these for y'all. So, as we navigate the anniversary onset of the last year of collective trauma, some things that may support us in the wave of grief might include. So this doesn't just specifically have to do with COVID. This is kind of any anniversary of a traumatic event, any grief that you might be going to, any collective trauma. These are just a few things that you can try to remember. 1. Remember that anniversary reactions don't last forever. It can be helpful to lean into coping strategies, do things that bring us joy, comfort, rest, and help as we feel safe in the world around us. It is important to be compassionate with our bodies and minds as we try to process and cope with the painful reminder of what that anniversary of the traumatic event was, right? So there's no shame in experiencing anniversary reaction as your brain tries to sort through and process what the anniversary has meant for you in your life. So there's no shame in that. Very important, like always, reach out for support, share with your support system what you're feeling, and know you're not alone in this process. especially with COVID, right? Everyone dealt with it. Talk to a friend, share with a friend how you're feeling, that you're still experiencing this trauma, because we're still in it. We're still going through it. It's not like it's over and done, right? We're still in the middle of it. We're still trying to handle it. We're still trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And so don't be afraid to reach out, and, don't be afraid to share those thoughts, and the feelings you have, they're not going to last forever, right? And so just know that as well. When it comes to specifically with COVID-19 and these kind of collective traumas, make sure you minimize or limit the watching the news, engaging in social media, or other activities that might increase the number of triggers we have to navigate. So we should not avoid our emotions, but we don't have to exacerbate those emotions. So we don't want to avoid our emotions, because avoiding our emotions or our feelings doesn't protect us from them, but we don't want to have to exacerbate them and leave our brains and bodies feeling more overwhelmed than they already are. Okay, so that's a good distinction. When we experience anniversary reactions, our brains resurface painful memories. This is often an indicator that our brain has further processing to do surrounding this event. This information is invaluable, as it informs us that our brain may need some support in this area, whether it's through seeking support through a therapist, journaling, taking time to commemorate the loss and grieve, or by some other means. Our brains and body deserve the space to work with and through these traumatic memories. So there's that. It's hard. It's very hard. There's no easy route to healing, right? But healing is really hard. Not healing is even harder. So we have to take those necessary painful steps to be able to live with and thrive with those traumatic events that happen to us, because it's possible. It's very possible. And so we all grieve in different ways, in different paths, and different journeys of grieving. I know my journey has been different than my parents' journey of grieving, and I know everyone else who may be listening who's grieving through something or been through something traumatic, your journey is different than mine, but we all need that space and that love to heal. But that healing journey is painful and it's difficult, and we're going to get triggered, and we might fall back a step or we might fall down, but the only reason we fall down is so we can learn to pick ourselves back up and keep striving to be more, not to do more, but to be more. And that's an important note to take when we're still navigating COVID-19. We're still navigating collective trauma. We're still navigating everything that's going on in the world. Every day something new seems to happen, but we have the power within ourselves to still be fulfilled and purposeful and resilient, and have those amazing, beautiful lives, still filled with adversity and setbacks and challenges, right? But really, we lean into those things. That's where the beauty comes out of. That's where the lessons are learned. And that's how we really move forward and thrive into these amazing people that we can become, that are already inside of us. And that's what I feel. Because we can do the affirmations, we can do the meditation, we can do the manifestation, we can believe in a higher power, we can do all the exercise, all that stuff are all the tools that you need to live an amazing life. But those are only tools. They only work if you do, and you have to put in the work. And the first step to that work is being aware of what you need to work on. What's holding you back? What's that event that's holding you back? What's still triggering you? And then you start to put in the work every day of constant, lifelong improvement, because we never end. There's no end point to self-improvement or self-growth, right? It's ever going, right? Because new challenges arise, new setbacks arise, new people enter our life, new relationships are had, we change, we grow, we evolve. And I think that's the beauty of the journey, is that it's never ending. And so the fun is in the process. The fun is experiencing everything that happens to you as you go through that journey, the memories, the moments, the fun, the good, the bad, the hard, all that stuff. That's really where the magic is. And so I urge you to make a commitment to yourself, to make a commitment to your journey, to make a commitment to your healing, because you deserve that commitment to yourself from yourself. And I wish you all the best in that journey. It really is a magical place when you start to feel it and thrive in it and get to a point where you're fulfilled and purposeful and empowered. And take it from me, from a guy who's been through it, like, you can get there. It's possible. There's light always at the end of the tunnel. And I truly believe that. And so cheers. The hotline will be open for another 25 minutes. If no one calls in, this will be the end of the episode. And so if you watched all the way through, thank you. If you have any questions or comments for me, you can DM me, you can text me, or you can leave a comment on the YouTube show. I'll get to everything. If you want to hear me talk about something, let me know. If you have a guest recommendation, let me know. If you enjoyed this or you didn't like it, or you found something hard to hear or listen to or didn't understand, and you want further detail, or you want me to stop doing something, I just want to hear some feedback. I'm trying to get better as a podcaster, as a host, as someone who speaks words, as a communicator, as just a person, as a human. I'm trying to get better. So if you have any feedback for me, let me know. Or something I said that sounded off or weird, hold me accountable for that. But I appreciate you listening. Give us a review on Apple, subscribe to YouTube, or just really share with a friend. That's the best way to support this podcast, is sharing it with a friend, and telling them how you felt about it and why you liked it. And then that's it. So I appreciate you as always. Have a beautiful night, and take good care.